Hello, welcome pen friends. It's that time again for another update on my depth year, which I'm changing the name of it, and I'm really going to start calling it my mindful year because that's what I'm really resonating more with. But you would recognize it as my depth year because that's how I introduced it in December, and that's how I started talking about it. So what this video is my February check-in to kind of go over, and share with you some of my insights and what occurred during February and just kind of ramble about it really. But I do have some notes. I actually did take quite a few notes and reflection in my bullet journal. So I think probably the first thing to talk about is the money aspect because that seems to be the pressing issue in my mind for some reason, even though I really want to get past that because it's about so much more than pen allowance or low spend, no spend. It's about a lot more than money why I'm doing this project. It's that I really, really want to appreciate what I have and use what I have and not be overwhelmed. That's been a big part of it. So my goals were to save money, to reduce my acquiring overall. I last year, 2019, was a big year for ink samples especially, and I got really overwhelmed with that. I did it to myself, and I had some help too. Some people pen-abled me, which is just fine. It was lovely, actually. So I want to use what I have. And I did want, definitely, it's still a goal of mine to do a lower spend. I think I calculated last year, if I'm not mistaken, that I spent $75 a month was the average I spent, and $50 of that came straight from channel ad money. So I was still spending consistently $25 a month every month. So, that, you see, but when I look at that, I don't see that as crazy when I actually compare it to other people with hobbies, and collections, and and it sometimes can be easy to justify what we do, right? But we know if we get overwhelmed. We know if we're feeling uncomfortable with the amount of stuff we have. So that's where I was at, and I'm beginning to start feeling a lot more comfortable. But okay, so there was one thing that didn't relate to money that I wrote down first. I guess my brain works in funny ways. I wrote down that I am relating a lot more with the idea of having a mindful year than the depth year as it's panning out. And this is just February, but I guess I already mentioned that. Okay, so my savings is going well, but I'm targeting savings for a trip to Vermont and also for a brand new pair of bifocal glasses, the most unglamorous thing in the world, but I do need them, and my prescription's kind of heavyweight, so it's got to be thin lenses, and they're expensive. And I'm looking around for the best price and that kind of thing. So, but my savings is going better than ever, so that's really good. And then along came the Google AdSense channel money. The way that the ads or the revenue is working right now, every other month I get ad money for this channel, which thank you very much for watching my videos, for liking them and being here, because that really helps me a lot. And actually for 2 months it was $155.77, and that, to me, that's not little change. That's quite a bit of money. And I just wanted to tell you how I spent it, because I was doing channel allowance videos, and I'm probably going to go back to that. But right off the bat, I ordered postage stamps. I needed them badly, so I got a whole bunch of postage stamps, and that'll help me with the pen paling and everything. And then I got 4 ink samples from Van Ness, and I showed you those on a previous video. And then I ordered stickers and a bullet journal template, which I've yet to show on the channel, but I am going to be showing that bullet journal template from Rickshaw. It's a little, it has little squares and circles, and it's really awesome. If you haven't seen it, it's really nice, and I know I'm going to be using it a lot. Okay, then true confessions here. I toyed back and forth. I wasn't going to get it, but I ended up using channel funds to get that rose gold eco. And it was kind of a last minute after I think my husband had heard about it, about all he wanted to hear. He said, I don't know why you don't just get it, because, you know, that's what that money is for, to support your hobby. So it's here and it's beautiful. I don't regret getting it at all. It's very beautiful. I did get a stub nib on it, but I balked a lot about it because they charge more for that finish. It was $50 approximately instead of the $30, which the ecos are. But I'm happy with it, and I made that decision, and I'm sticking to it because it's here and I love it. So, okay. So then, I saved 15% of what came in for my self-employment taxes. I learned that this year. And then I spent $8 for TWSBI shipping me a broad nib to replace the one on that blue eco that wasn't quite right. Okay, so what I noticed was with that money, that triggered all kinds of wanting things. And before that, I had settled into kind of a nice, enjoying what I have, which I don't think getting the channel money made me not enjoy it, what I have. I'm not trying to say that. It's just that it did kind of trigger this looking around and noticing what was going on in the pen world and the ink world and things like that. So that's where mindfulness comes in, because now I've made the connection that one of the triggers for acquiring more is money coming my way, wherever it may come from. And so there was another major source of money this month, which was my portion of the income tax refund, which I'm proud to say I put the biggest chunk in the safe for my eyeglasses, so that, I've got a really good start on saving for them. And then I showed you what I got with the rest. I got the Lockbee pocket journal, which I don't regret either. It's gorgeous. It fits my gratitude setup, and it's just, I'm really enjoying this. Really, really enjoying it. In fact, Manuel liked it so much that I had to go and order him one. He said, I'm taking that, and I said, no, please. And so anyway, there's one on order. It'll be coming this week for him. So, but he paid for that. So, okay. So I'm just kind of going by my notes now. So you see a theme there. Money comes in, and here comes all the ideas of how I could spend it. But it has helped me to have the targeted savings for my trip to Vermont, for my eyeglasses, and there's probably other categories. I know definitely I need sinking funds for the pets, for their various needs at the vet and that kind of thing. So I'm working on it, but I am already so much better than I was last year. So, point number 5 that I wrote down was I really missed the ink flight. I continue to miss the ink flight, but there are people now doing videos of it, and my pen friend Manda has got her own channel, so I'm going to link her channel here because she's awesome, and you'll want to check out her channel if you haven't already. She's just started it up, and it's amazing. Congratulations for starting your channel. I was somebody who said go ahead and do it, I think when you mentioned it first. So anyway, I don't want to embarrass her. So I got to thinking about the ink flight, and I thought, well, that is how I ended up placing that order to Van Ness, because I realized that I wanted to try the Ackerman Gourmet Pink. So after Tom did his reveal, I realized, wait a minute, I didn't even know that Ackerman Gourmet Pink was a thing. So I got a 4 ml sample of it, and I admit, because I tend to love to have plenty of ink to try out, I do better with a larger sample like that. So that was cool. But I still miss the ink flight. So that's just something to be mindful of, to notice and be aware of the feelings and see, how it goes, because a decision can always be changed, and I can go back, Okay, point number 6 I wrote down. Now, this is not a huge big deal, but I did resist buying the Platinum Curadas. And that's the platinum, like the Vanishing Point, only it's a plastic fountain pen, but it's a It's a click pen. And of course that's been delayed, so that decision was interesting that I resisted. And it wasn't that I told myself I'm never going to purchase one, but it was out of my price range because it does retail at $80. And so I would have to have my glasses first and my trip secured, things like that, because what would I be doing spending quite that much on a pen? But see, it's all about choices, because I did end up getting the TWSBI rose gold, the white rose gold, and that was $50. So, who am I kidding here? But I did write that down, and that is true. I did resist that pen. So then another point I wrote down, I did really good with my pen pal letters. I didn't get 29 out of the 29 days for NaCoWriMo. I did get 23 pen pal letters written though, in February. So I felt I did really good considering my arm, my tennis elbow, and my pain that I've had in my arm. My reply pile consists of 6 letters to write. And, I'm not in a rush, but I'll be getting them written, and I'll enjoy that. Okay, and then another point here, I'm scattered because this is really difficult to do the format that I'm doing, because where I have to look for you to see that I'm looking you in the eye is counter to where I want to look, which is over here to see what the heck I look like and how many hairs are sticking up, I guess. But that's okay. I'll get used to this. I know where the camera is, and I want to look at that. So I continue to kind of grapple with this thing where I bring new books into my life. But this one is been worth it, and it is a library book. I don't know if you can see that, but it is a library book, so I didn't buy it, but I'll be hard-pressed not to, probably. I'm taking real good notes, though. So I'm going to wait, because, it's possible I could find this used very inexpensively later down the road. It's called Essentialism: The Disciplined Pursuit of Less by Greg McKeown. Now, one of my favorite YouTubers, I'm trying to think of his name, Simply Mindful, I think. It's Stuart at Simply Mindful. And I will link him down below in the description box, because he's not doing fountain pen stuff, but it's right up my alley because it's kind of in the line of minimalism and so forth. Has talked about this book quite a bit, and it's really, really good. It's something for me to digest. I actually thought from the index, I actually thought it was going to be a lot easier for me to to read, but I think it's one of those books that's touching some buttons there, hot buttons. And so that's good. And it may be one of those books that requires more than just reading it, which it's very important. It's a very deep book. But, just reading that subtitle, The Disciplined Pursuit of Less, that's what I'm after. That really is what I'm after. I don't want to have a case of the gimmies all the time. And I really would like to just enjoy what I have and become a little bit less of a collector. But when a new pen comes out that I like, or a new ink, everything goes out the window. And I think you guys could relate to that. So, wow, all of a sudden my head aches. It's weird, but there's been a lot of noise today, and it's hotter, and the temperature just, and the pressure in the air just rose up. So that was like my final point, but that's not the end of the video, because, I did more journaling, and there were lots of important insights. Let's see, I did some just free writing. I wrote, this month I came face to face with my tendency to add more to my life. More things, more books, more ideas, more projects. The awareness and mindfulness was helpful. I do not wish to restrict the inflow of good to my life. At the same time, I don't want to feel overwhelmed. I've found my decision journal very helpful. It amplifies mindfulness. Okay, and I have that right here. This has really, really been helping me. So even when it comes down to deciding whether to purchase a pen, I've been using this decision journal. And it's amazing, because once I get the basic bones of it in there, like what is it I'm trying to decide, what are my options, my feelings about it, my likely outcome, like my prediction of what the outcome will be, then it seems like a lot goes on subconsciously, and I seem to get clarity without even touching it again. So like a week later, I'll come back and I'll review some of those decisions I've entered into here, and it's amazing. And that's why I always like to leave space for updates, so I could come in and put follow-up and then just jot in. You know, I did a whole bunch about whether or not to see a doctor about my arm and what was going on, and I wound up just way down the road with a lot more information about tennis elbow and what's going on, what's really wrong, you know, just by doing that journaling. So I can't recommend it enough. It just is amazing. I get going on these. I just get going, don't I? I put special note. I think pen allowance was a pretty good idea and I miss it. After I purchased my eyeglasses in April, I plan to reinstate it. So that is something I'm considering, because, and I haven't done the decision journaling about that subject yet, but I'm going to. I really do miss that structure of, okay, this is my limit, and once I've spent it, that's it. At the same time, though, I'm finding that by paying myself first, by putting money in the savings first, it's actually happening. The savings is happening. So it kind of creates a pen allowance anyway, if that makes sense. Okay, and I put achievements. I filled my 2 pilot varsities. That was awesome. I organized my entire pen collection. I did that this month, and I haven't done a video yet. It is something I'd like to do. I think my concern on that has been that I ended up with several pens that they need work. They need me to revisit them. They need either a nib or a section or both, or maybe I inked it up and had trouble with it, and I hate to be telling on myself, but I think that will be fun when I get around to it, showing you what's in my primary 36 pen case, and then the pen case where those pens are sort of on probation and may or may not stay, and I'm thinking of rehoming some of them. And then the ones that are literally in the garage, so to speak, and need fixing. Oh, and I did start that new series, the Chris's pen ink paper combination series, and that was fun. And then let's see, I'm getting to the bottom here. Mindful ahas. I felt like I had better self-care balance in February. In fact, I'll just be honest, a loved one had a really hard time and is still ongoingly having a hard time, and I needed support. I needed extra help with that, so I went back into counseling. And that's been wonderful. I mean, I've been just once, but I'm going to be going in March too. And then I jotted down cat needs. Yeah, that's been on my mind, that, creating a special fund for them. Okay, because I used most of what I had for them for all of Coco's needs. He had a lot of needs with his neutering, his series of shots, he got a 3-month flea treatment, and he's going to be due for another one in April. So, and then let's see. Okay, up here. Oh, okay. My final jot down was that a lot of pens are suddenly tempting me very badly. Yeah, I think that's kind of like human nature. Here I started on this path of wanting to go deeper with what I already have and wanting to do a lower spend. And what do I get? Lots of temptations, lots of pretty colors coming out, which is really, that's always going to be the case. And I know that it's just like with anything else that I can really think of. There's always going to be a new model or a new color. I keep using that example of Tupperware, which is just ridiculous. But with just about anything, even our cell phones, and my cell phone is now almost 3 years old, but it's still good. So, but I still see those shiny objects coming down the pike. I mean, that's a lot of update. Let's see. Oh my gosh, almost 20 minutes. But I guess that's okay. I can hear a weed eater, so I'm getting a little antsy. But I think that I'm on track, and I'm glad that I'm renaming this my mindful year, because that's what I really want to bring in, is just everything is choice, and being more mindful with every single choice. And that decision journal has just helped me more than anything else I've ever tried. you know, to have it just dedicated to that. And I've turned to it many, many times. I'm on page 13. Let's see how many actual, let's see what page 1 was. I think page 1 was the first decision. Yeah, so I actually have 13 different subjects that I have mulled over in this decision journal, and it has just been helping me so much. I keep saying that, but it's true. So I know many of you are having a depth year or a low spend year as well, because I've seen that in the comments. And sometimes I feel like almost like, oh, I can't say that I got this pen or I did this because it isn't, maybe I'm judging myself. And you know, that's true. We have to look at that, you know, and be mindful of how we're thinking, because each and every one of us has to decide, you know, how we're going to proceed, and we'll learn from our errors if we make errors. So I think that's all for this time. And if I look uncomfortable, it's because all of a sudden I'm sweating, and it's like I had to close the window because of that weed eater that I hear. And the weather's just beautiful here. But I'd love to hear about your experiences with you know, doing a low spend or a depth year, or a mindful year, or I'm trying to think of some of the other names that people have called it. I don't think it matters really what we call it, because we each have to define it for ourselves. But I'm going forward, it's all going to be about having a mindful year for me. And I feel like it's going really well. In fact, when I got this pen, you know, even though it was a trick to make the decision, because I knew that either way I went would be okay. But I was never more excited, because it had been a while since I had bought a pen, actually. Been quite a while. So I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I'm excited and happy. So I'm going to leave it at this. And I can't wait to hear from you in the comments. I am considering doing updates going forward a different way, but I haven't decided yet, because I haven't put it to my decision journal, and to be honest, and I'm going to, because I thought, you know, I could do little video updates over on Instagram. I could use the community tab here. I'm not sure whether this really warrants separate videos, and I'm still thinking about that. And I'm open to hear whatever any of you want to tell me. It's really cool whenever we can give each other input like that. So I'll see you in the next video. And I hope this isn't too dorky the way this camera setup is. Bye for now.